Bombshell testimony from Cassie Ventura's mother at the trial of Sean P. Diddy Combs today. She said Diddy threatened to release sex tapes featuring Cassie with male escorts.
Well, here we go again. This case just keeps getting messier and messier. From Cassie's mom entering the courtroom to Kid Cudi giving his testimony, all the moves are against Diddy. Back in 2007, Cassie Ventura was a fresh face in the music scene, young, talented, and ready to make her mark. As a rising star signed to Bad Boy Records, it wasn't long before she caught the eye of the label's head honcho, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Their professional connection quickly turned personal, and soon the two were making waves as one of the industry's most talked about couples. From glamorous red carpet appearances to jet-setting lifestyles, Cassie and Diddy looked like the ultimate power duo, unstoppable, stylish, and perfectly in sync. To the public, it seemed like a fairy tale romance unfolding in real time. But years later, Cassie pulled back the curtain, revealing that the relationship wasn't as picture-perfect as it appeared. Behind the glitz and glam, things were far more complicated and not nearly as dreamy as the world believed. Cassie didn't just walk away, she lawyered up. In a jaw-dropping lawsuit, she laid out how her relationship with Diddy was anything but glamorous behind the scenes. According to court filings, he called all the shots, telling her what to do, who to talk to, and even how to look.
Combs' ex-girlfriend and singer Cassie Ventura testified yesterday. For several hours, she gave her account of a physically and emotionally abusive relationship. Some of what she testified was extremely graphic. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges against him. If convicted, he faces up to life in prison.
The complaint created a dark image of a lady stuck in a bad situation with little options for making her own choices. Cassie said that Diddy abused her physically and sexually for years. His conduct included times when he supposedly hit her, threatened her life, and used his power to keep her quiet. The complaint also said that Diddy would capture their private moments without her permission and then use the footage to dominate her. Cassie stated she was scared even though the world saw her as gorgeous. For years, she didn't say anything, supposedly because she was terrified Diddy would get back at her. Diddy had a lot of power in the entertainment sector. As time went on, she couldn't stay quiet anymore since the abuse was too much to hide. Cassie's allegations include severe physical assaults that left her with visible injuries. There is also a video evidence of Diddy hitting and kicking Cassie in a hotel lobby. She recounted episodes where Combs allegedly punched, kicked, and stomped on her, resulting in bruises, black eyes, and other injuries. Not only this, he also raped her, which led her to go to rehab for therapy. In one instance, after a violent encounter, she was reportedly hidden in hotels for days to allow her bruises to heal, effectively concealing the abuse from public view. These assaults were not isolated incidents, but part of a pattern of behavior that instilled fear and submission. In an apparent effort to cover his tracks, Diddy allegedly paid $50,000 to acquire security footage from one of the hotel incidents, footage that showed him attacking Cassie. Despite the hush money, the clip eventually went viral, exposing the violent reality behind the scenes and reigniting public scrutiny. A particularly disturbing aspect of Cassie's claims involves events she described as freak-offs, where Combs allegedly forced her to engage in sexual acts with male sex workers while he watched and recorded the encounters. These events were reportedly accompanied by the use of drugs such as ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and alcohol, substances that Cassie alleges were used to impair her judgment and facilitate the abuse. She claimed that these encounters were not consensual and were a means for Combs to exert control over her. Beyond physical and sexual abuse, Cassie's lawsuit described a relationship marked by psychological manipulation. She alleged that Combs exerted control over her personal and professional life, dictating her actions and isolating her from support systems. This control extended to forcing her to carry his firearm in her purse, a tactic she interpreted as a demonstration of his dominance and a method to instill fear. Now this is where things take a turn. Cassie is said to have been romantically involved with another musician, Scott Mescudi, better known as Kid Cudi, in 2011 while dealing with the ups and downs of her relationship with Diddy. Cassie's complaint says that this wasn't simply a short-term friendship.
Kid Cudi, he corroborated some of what we heard from Cassie Ventura, and he started off by talking about, in 2011, getting a frantic phone call from Cassie Ventura saying, "You gotta come. I'm really concerned, I'm scared, I'm nervous," because she said that Combs found out about their relationship. So in the process of making sure she's safe, he winds up putting her up in a hotel in Los Angeles.
According to Cassie's complaint, the friendship transformed into a brief yet significant emotional bond. At the time, both artists kept things secret, but later on, this link would cause a lot of trouble for Diddy. Cassie said that Diddy was insanely protective and that any hint of infidelity would make him explode. Diddy is said to have become angry when he heard that she was interested in another man, especially a famous artist.
Today, Kid Cudi will talk about his brief relationship with Cassie Ventura back in 2011. Last week, Ventura told the court that Diddy physically assaulted her when he found out about their relationship. She also said that Diddy threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car.
Cassie and Kid Cudi's emails and private communications are said to have led to a string of violent fights. Diddy is said to have started keeping an eye on Cassie's activities and would regularly question her about how she interacted with other people, especially guys. He saw her talking to Kid Cudi as not just a betrayal, but also a challenge to his power. During the time they were together, neither Cassie nor Kid Cudi ever formally declared their relationship. Later, though, Kid Cudi acknowledged some of the statements in Cassie's complaint, which made her claims much more believable.
About a month later, the two broke up due to the drama, and Mescudi had his Porsche firebombed in his driveway. No one was ever arrested, and Diddy denied involvement during a face-to-face in which Cudi described Combs as a Marvel supervillain.
Kid Cudi's car was blown in what was said to be an accident. At first, the car explosion was thought to be an accident, but now it seems more ominous, hinting that someone could be trying to get back at him. In a desperate plea for help, Cassie reportedly sent an email to her mother detailing the abuse she was experiencing. This email served as a crucial piece of evidence in her lawsuit, highlighting the severity of her situation and her attempts to seek assistance. Her mother, Regina Ventura, testified that upon receiving the email, she and her husband paid Combs $20,000 under duress, following threats involving explicit videos of Cassie. This payment was later returned, but the incident underscores the extent of control and intimidation Cassie alleges she faced.
Regina Ventura saying in 2011 her daughter sent her an email that made her physically sick that said Combs was threatening to release 2 explicit videos of Cassie. She testified that Combs also demanded $20,000 to make up for money he had spent on Cassie. Regina Ventura and her husband taking out a home equity loan. She testified, "I was scared for my daughter's safety." She said she wired the money, which was returned several days later.
Cassie's assertion that Diddy tried to blackmail her with a $20,000 offer is probably the most shocking thing to come out of the whole case. She said that this cash was part of a secret plan to purchase her silence and avoid negative information from coming out, notably about her reported involvement with Kid Cudi. The supposed hush money was more than simply a payment. It was part of a bigger plan to control the story and get rid of areas of Cassie's life that Diddy thought were dangerous.
But she knew about this, and at one point, Sean Combs told her mother and father, "I'm going to need $20,000 from you. I'm going to need that wired." Her parents took out a loan against their home, wired it to him. He said if she's going to be seeing other people, which he thought she was at that point, I believe Kid Cudi, well, then I need to recoup the investment that I've put in.
Cassie's lawyers said that this effort at blackmail came at a time when she was starting to feel more independent. The $20,000, which was supposedly provided through middlemen, was designed to keep her quiet about not just the affair, but also the other mistreatment she had suffered. Cassie turned down the offer, and she said the choice led to a new round of threats and intimidation. It has been said that the supposed middlemen were told to stress the dangers of coming out, creating a bleak image of what Cassie may suffer if she went against Diddy's desires. It was one of the most moving and dramatic moments in this story. Cassie's mom had been seen a lot, but not heard from in public. She mostly remained away from interviews and news releases. This all flared up when Cassie sent her mom an alarming email.
Cassie wrote an ominous email to her mom. It read, "Sean has also said he will be having someone hurt me and Scott Mescudi physically, and it wouldn't be at his hands."
But after years of seeing her daughter suffer in silence, she finally said, "That's enough." Sources close to the family say that Cassie's mother knew her daughter was dominating her relationship with Diddy, but couldn't do anything about it at first because she was scared and didn't have any power. When the blackmail charges came out,
Cassie Ventura's mother, it was very brief on the stand, but she talked about taking photos of her daughter in 2011 when she came home to Connecticut for the Christmas holidays, and that she was shocked to see the bruises on her daughter's body, that she hadn't been aware that her daughter's relationship with Combs had been violent at this point, and that she took those photos to memorialize them. And thankfully for her, she did, because they showed those in court today to the jurors.
Cassie's mother is said to have felt she had to back up her daughter's tale. She made a strong allegation that people linked to Diddy had offered money to keep the family quiet. Her choice to speak up has ramifications that spread. People who supported her complimented her, saying it must have been hard for a mother to face one of the most prominent men in the music business. It also added emotional depth to Cassie's narrative by demonstrating how the trauma and deception affected not just her, but also the others around her. Cassie's mom also played a big part in getting her daughter to take legal action. She is said to have told Cassie in private discussions to take back her story and fight back.
So not only did that email reference something that made her mother physically sick, I think the focus on the direct examination was that she claimed she was extorted to the tune of $20,000. $20,000 that she and her husband, Cassie's father, had to take a home equity loan out to pay for.
Cassie was able to submit her complaint because of her support, even when she was worried about what may happen next. The rumored romance between Cassie and Kid Cudi didn't only make Diddy mad, it touched off a chain reaction that affected everyone involved for a long time.
Every day, the testimony in this trial has been jaw-dropping. Today will be no different. As you're talking about rapper Kid Cudi on the stand, and he is testifying today. Go ahead, take a look at this video, because this is Cudi arriving here at federal court in Lower Manhattan earlier today. Now, he is wearing the black leather coat and smoking a cigarette. He is testifying about his brief relationship with Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie back in 2011.
Reports say that Diddy's conduct got worse once he found out about the affair. Sources say that he was so angry that it wasn't only because he was envious, it was also because the affair meant that he had lost control over Cassie. The scariest part was when Kid Cudi's vehicle blew up in his driveway for no reason. At first, everyone thought it was an accident, but suspicions rose swiftly. Cassie's complaint said that Diddy was personally responsible for the explosion and that it was done out of revenge. After the event, Kid Cudi is said to have stopped talking about it in public. People who work in the industry said he was worried about his safety. Diddy, on the other side, is said to have threatened and scared Cassie again, this time with further monitoring and emotional abuse. This controversy didn't go ignored in the business world. People who worked with Diddy, fans, and executives started to talk about how angry he was and how quiet Cassie was.
Start to her testimony, Julia, because she got on the stand. So she met Cassie when they were 15. Cassie was 15, she was 16. They began modeling with one another. She talked about her confidence, how Cassie was very confident and proud and had a spark, but eventually she lost that, she said, when she began to date Sean Combs.
The music mogul's reputation, which used to be unbreakable, started to show signs of wear. People began to ask tough questions. Was this the first time something like this happened? Was there more going on behind the scenes? The aftermath wasn't just about one affair. It showed how harmful Diddy's behavior was, according to reports. It showed a man who wouldn't let go and would do frightening things to keep his image and power. The Kid Cudi incident showed how messed up power relationships are in the entertainment industry. Cassie made a big and risky step when she filed her case in 2023. The legal papers went into great detail about the years of claimed abuse, manipulation, and compulsion. But there was also a second trial going on outside of the courtrooms, the trial of public opinion. Cassie's lawyers made a compelling case with evidence from people like Kid Cudi and her mother, as well as timings and testimonials.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted. The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to sexually exploit both women and men for decades. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges that accused him of coercing alleged victims into prolonged, drug-fueled sexual activity that he called freak-offs and threatening them into silence. At trial, Combs will ditch the jail garb and wear ordinary clothes.
But Diddy, who is often in the public eye, fought back hard. His attorneys refuted all of the accusations, saying they were fabricated and an attempt to tarnish a legacy. Even yet, the public's reaction was quick and mixed. Some supporters spoke up for Diddy, saying that he had been successful and charitable for decades. Many people, especially those who support women's rights, spoke up for Cassie. Hashtags like "I stand with Cassie" and "survivors" deserve justice were all over social media. Celebrities also started to speak out, and a few of them hinted to things they had seen or done in the past. Cassie's husband, Alex Fine, also came forward to show his support to his wife. He said, "The world has gotten to witness the strength and bravery of my wife freeing herself." Cassie felt validated by all the public support, but it also brought problems. She was harassed, threatened, and had others try to debunk her testimony online. She still stayed steadfast, though, and was determined to hold Diddy responsible. The case unlocked the floodgates. Other people who say they were hurt by Cassie have allegedly started looking into their legal possibilities because of her bravery. Legal experts said that even while defamation lawsuits and settlements would happen, things were moving in the direction of openness and responsibility. This part of the story wasn't simply about legalese or celebrity gossip. It was about the struggle to be heard. Cassie's situation made the business and the public face some facts. The cultural transformation had already started, even if the judicial battle was still going on. Cassie's voice went beyond the headlines and became a call to action for change. As Sean "Diddy" Combs continues to face a storm of legal trouble, it's becoming clearer that this isn't just a one-man scandal. It's a tangled web involving multiple people, shocking twists, and an industry that's been far too silent for far too long. What started as one lawsuit from Cassie has snowballed into a massive reckoning for the music mogul, and it's dragging in some huge names along the way. Since late 2023, over 70 civil lawsuits have surfaced accusing Diddy of sexual assault, sex trafficking, abuse, and more. Each new case adds another layer to a deeply disturbing pattern of behavior, allegations that go back decades. But now, what's truly setting the industry on edge is the expanding scope of this investigation. The trial isn't just about Diddy anymore. It's cracking open a vault of secrets that could shake the entertainment world to its core. One of the most shocking developments came when rapper Kanye West's name appeared on a list of over 100 individuals associated with the case. While West hasn't been directly accused of wrongdoing, his mention in connection with the federal trafficking and racketeering investigation is enough to raise eyebrows. It suggests that investigators are looking into a much wider circle of influence, one that may include artists, executives, and insiders who were either complicit or silent bystanders. It's not just these stars making headlines. The courtroom drama has brought forth claims of hush money, blackmail, manipulation, and drug-fueled freak-offs that paint a harrowing picture of Diddy's alleged double life. The authorities now believe this wasn't just personal abuse, it was systemic, organized, and covered up for years with money and influence. Even more alarming is how many people may have known, or at least suspected, what was going on behind the scenes. Names like JLO, Michael B. Jordan, and others reportedly appeared during jury selection and in court filings, hinting at how deep the rabbit hole might go. This trial has quickly become more than a legal battle. It's a cultural moment. The silence around powerful figures is breaking. Long-held myths of untouchable fame are collapsing. Diddy's carefully curated image as a mogul and mentor is now facing its ultimate test, not just in the court of law, but in the court of public opinion. And this may just be the beginning. While Cassie made her claims, the music community felt the effects right away. Many fans thought there would be quiet, especially because Diddy has been known as a gatekeeper in the business for a long time. This time, though, something else happened. Artists, producers, and even executives began to speak up with clear and unambiguous support for Cassie, rather than in vague terms. Dawn Richard, who used to be in the group Danity Kane, which Diddy helped start, was one of the first to speak up. She gave testimony where she talked about some violence at a restaurant and how uncomfortable she felt. She also talked about one more instance where she witnessed Diddy hit Cassie right in front of her. Aubrey O'Day came forward in support of Cassie and talked about how Diddy used his daughter to shift the media's perspective of him. People who had worked with Diddy in the past started to pull away, silently taking down posts and pictures of him from their social media. The small changes were quite telling. It was no longer simply about safeguarding reputations. It was about being honest. Even Cassie's childhood friend, Carrie Morgan, spoke in support of Cassie and how she was abused. Cassie found this public support to be an emotional lifeline. She didn't identify anyone to get support, but the community's response made it clear, you are not alone. For a long time, the music industry was dominated by hierarchies and a culture of silence. But things were starting to change. In many respects, this help wasn't just for Cassie. It was for all artists, but especially women who had been mistreated without saying anything. Something came out because of her fearlessness. Finally, the music community was paying attention. So what do you think of this case so far? Did Cassie's mother do the right thing by bringing up the blackmail? Let us know in the comments below.